The invisible strategist. David Wellington's voice echoed through his glass office on the 45th floor. The official translator had cancelled. Family emergency, and in 15 minutes, Chinese executives would arrive to finalize a $200 million contract. I've tried every translator in the city, Rebecca, his executive assistant, said desperately. No one's available. Then a quiet voice came from the corner. Excuse me, Mr. Wellington, but I speak fluent Mandarin. All eyes turned to Jasmine Parker, 28, holding a cleaning cloth in her navy blue maintenance uniform. For 3 years, she'd cleaned these executive floors, always discreet, always invisible. Rebecca laughed nervously. Jasmine, this isn't a joke. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar deal. You speak Mandarin? David asked, skeptical but desperate. Mandarin, Cantonese, and some Taiwanese, Jasmine replied calmly. I studied Oriental linguistics at Howard University before working here. Rebecca's amusement turned to irritation. David, you can't be serious. A cleaning lady conducting the most important meeting of the year. Prove it, David demanded. Say something in Mandarin. Jasmine spoke in perfect Mandarin, her pronunciation flawless. David was speechless at the natural fluency and authority in her voice. What did you say? That it's an honor to meet you and we hope our cooperation brings mutually beneficial results. It's a respectful business greeting in Chinese culture. Rebecca crossed her arms. What will the Chinese think when they see you brought a cleaning lady to an executive meeting? For a moment, David studied Jasmine. There was intelligence in her eyes, a quiet dignity that contrasted with how everyone treated her. For 3 years, she'd absorbed more about the company than many executives. You have 20 minutes. Put on something appropriate and meet me in the conference room. When Jasmine returned in a borrowed black outfit, hair in an elegant bun, the room fell silent. David introduced her as our international relations specialist for the Asian market. The delegation leader, Mr. Chen, greeted her with a respectful bow. When she responded in perfect Mandarin, his eyes lit up with genuine approval. For 15 minutes, Jasmine translated every nuance with surgical precision, not just words, but cultural tones and diplomatic implications. Then Rebecca intervened with a venomous smile. Perhaps we should explain to our guests her unique career path. It's so inspiring to see someone who was cleaning these very rooms 3 years ago sitting at this table today. The silence was devastating. Mr. Chen's expression changed. Not contempt, but uncomfortable surprise. In Chinese culture, professional hierarchies were taken seriously. The ease vanished from the meeting. For 3 years, Jasmine had listened to every conversation while cleaning. She'd absorbed every strategy, watched every move, especially Rebecca's mistakes. Like when Rebecca lied about quarterly figures, took credit for others' work, or used confidential information for personal gain. Jasmine had seen everything, heard everything, and kept everything. The meeting ended with a tentative agreement, diplomatic code for, maybe if we don't find something better. Maybe next time we should be more transparent about our team's qualifications, Rebecca said with satisfaction. Jasmine stood calmly. Rebecca, Mr. Chen mentioned something interesting. He was confused by our hierarchical dynamics. He asked if I could call him later to clarify cultural aspects. Rebecca's face paled. He said whoever speaks the language automatically assumes authority in their culture. He'd like to understand our organizational structure before making a final decision. 2 hours later, Jasmine was back in her uniform. Her phone vibrated. A message in Chinese from Mr. Chen. Ms. Parker, I'd like to talk privately about your future opportunities. Could we meet tomorrow at 10 a.m.? I have a proposal that may interest you. That night, Jasmine opened a file she'd been building for 2 years. Wellington Industries Irregularities, 63 pages of evidence. Printed emails Rebecca thought she'd deleted, call logs, photos of documents proving Rebecca had sabotaged contracts with black-owned companies, blocked promotions, and violated federal regulations. At Café Mandarin the next morning, Mr. Chen and Lisa Wang, Vice President of International Development, waited. Yesterday I observed not only your linguistic fluency but something more valuable, Mr. Chen said in Mandarin. Your composure under pressure. We're expanding in North America, Lisa added. We need someone who understands both cultures and has observed how business really works from the inside. For 2 hours, Jasmine discussed market strategies and cultural differences. When Lisa slid a business card across the table, it read, Parker & Associates International Consulting, with a salary 5 times her current pay. We have one condition, Mr. Chen said. Help us investigate discrepancies in Wellington Industries contracts. There's evidence of practices violating federal trade regulations. There's an emergency meeting at Wellington tomorrow, Lisa added quietly. We've filed a formal complaint. It might be worth attending. The next morning, the boardroom buzzed with tension. Rebecca entered confidently, ready to blame the incompetent cleaning lady for yesterday's fiasco. Then Jasmine walked in wearing an impeccable gray suit, carrying a leather briefcase and laptop. I'm sorry I'm late. I was finishing important information for this meeting. Rebecca's face twisted. I don't understand why she's here. The Chinese delegation specifically requested her presence, David replied coldly. Jasmine opened her laptop. Mr. Chen approached me with concerns about Wellington's contracting practices. They discovered evidence of bid rigging and sabotage. What evidence could a cleaning lady have? Rebecca exploded. Jasmine's smile was soft but devastating. The kind you gather when you're invisible for 3 years and people talk as if you don't exist. She connected to the projector. Emails showing Rebecca sharing confidential competitor information. Documents proving she'd inflated costs for projects led by Black and Latino employees. Security recordings of discriminatory conversations. This is a setup, Rebecca shouted. Jasmine played a recording of Rebecca's voice. We can't allow these types of people to think they belong in executive meeting rooms. Rebecca's face went white. Another recording showed her instructing the receptionist to lose resumes with ethnic-sounding names. Mr. Johnson, a Black director, leaned forward grimly. Rebecca, is this true? You have 30 seconds to explain why you shouldn't be fired and reported to the district attorney, David said. Rebecca looked desperately for an ally. She found only disgust. She's just a resentful cleaning lady. As our new director of international relations, David interrupted. And you're fired. We're forwarding everything to the federal attorney's office. As security escorted Rebecca out, she shot Jasmine a venomous look. This doesn't change what you really are. Jasmine met her gaze calmly. You're right. I'm exactly what I've always been. Someone who watches, learns, and acts at the right moment. The difference is now I'm where I've always belonged. 6 months later, Jasmine sat in her new office, reviewing contracts that had yielded $400 million in new business. Her $300,000 salary allowed her mother to receive proper diabetes treatment, and she'd completed her master's at Columbia. Rebecca sat in a small Queens apartment with rejection letters piling up. The federal investigation had resulted in a $50,000 fine and a 5-year ban from executive positions. Her name appeared in business newspapers as an example of toxic leadership. That morning, she'd seen Jasmine on the cover of Business Week, the translator who revolutionized international business. At Wellington Industries, David announced exceptional results. Jasmine didn't just save our Chinese deal, she opened doors we never thought possible. In a television interview, Jasmine was asked if she felt resentment toward Rebecca. Rebecca gave me the greatest gift anyone could give. She showed me exactly who I didn't want to become. Her arrogance taught me that true power comes from lifting others up, not stepping on them. 3 weeks later, at Howard University, Jasmine announced the Second Chance Scholarship Program for students who'd interrupted their studies due to financial difficulties, funded partly by her own salary. Rebecca watched online, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in months, they weren't tears of self-pity, but genuine regret. You could have destroyed Rebecca personally, David told Jasmine privately. But you only exposed her professional misconduct. Jasmine smiled. The best revenge isn't destroying someone. It's building something so extraordinary that everything they tried to do against you becomes irrelevant. Jasmine Parker proved that genuine talent, unwavering dignity, and quiet preparation can overcome any prejudice. She turned 3 years of invisibility into her greatest advantage, showing that sometimes the most powerful people are the ones you don't notice, watching, learning, and preparing to shine. For years, she moved through spaces where no one bothered to look twice. Doors opened past her, conversations stopped short around her, decisions were made over her head as if she were part of the furniture. Being overlooked was never a choice, but it became a condition she learned to live inside. While others mistook her silence for weakness, she was quietly absorbing every detail. The power dynamics, the unspoken rules, the mistakes people made when they assumed they were unobserved. Those years were not empty or wasted. They became a private classroom. She studied tone and timing, learned how authority is performed rather than earned, and noticed how confidence often hides insecurity. When people feel superior, they reveal their truest selves. She listened more than she spoke, watched patterns repeat, and understood how systems favor some while dismissing others. Every dismissive glance and careless word sharpened her awareness instead of dulling it. In the shadows, she built discipline. Patience became her strength. While others rushed for attention, she refined her skills, strengthened her resolve, and prepared without announcement. She learned that visibility can be a distraction, but obscurity can be freedom. Free from scrutiny, she could grow without pressure, fail without judgment, and correct herself without an audience. What no one realized was that invisibility had given her clarity. She understood where power truly sat, how influence moved, and when silence was more effective than noise. When the moment finally arrived, she did not step forward hesitantly. She moved with precision, backed by years of quiet preparation. Her confidence was not loud, it was undeniable. The shift surprised everyone who had underestimated her. The same people who once ignored her now struggled to understand how she had become so capable, so composed, so commanding. They mistook sudden presence for sudden talent, never realizing the work had been done long before. Her story is a reminder that strength does not always announce itself. Some of the most formidable people are shaped away from the spotlight, growing where expectations are lowest. Being unseen taught her resilience, strategy, and self-trust. And when she finally chose to be seen, she did not seek validation. She claimed her place, fully prepared, fully aware, and impossible to overlook.